What if the greatest adventure you could ever embark on isn't to a distant land or a mountain peak, but deep into the vast, uncharted territory of your own soul? Many of us live our lives on the surface. We build careers, form relationships, and play the roles that are expected of us. Yet, a quiet, persistent whisper from within often tells us that there is something more. A deeper self, waiting to be discovered. The brilliant Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung dedicated his life to mapping this inner world. He called its ultimate exploration individuation, the lifelong process of becoming truly, authentically yourself. It's a journey with distinct stages, powerful challenges, and incredible rewards. And in this video, we will walk that path together. I will provide you with Jung's map, not as a dry academic lecture, but as a practical guide to understanding your own life story. Think of this as an expedition. We will learn to see the masks we wear, confront the dragons in our inner darkness, and ultimately, uncover the hidden gold of our true potential. This is the journey of self-realization, and it begins now. To begin our journey, we must first look at the face we present to the world. Have you ever felt like you're on a stage, performing a role so well-rehearsed that sometimes you forget who you are when the curtain falls? This is the first landmark on our map, a concept Jung called the persona. The word comes from the Latin term for the masks worn by actors in ancient theater, and it serves the same function for us. It's the version of ourselves we present to our colleagues, our friends, and our online followers. It's our interface with the external world. Now, the persona is not inherently bad. In fact, it is a vital tool for navigating a complex society. You have a professional persona for work, a patient persona as a parent, a witty persona with friends. These masks allow us to interact smoothly and belong. But Jung warned of a great danger, the danger of mistaking the mask for our true face. This happens when we over-identify with our persona. We start to believe that we are the successful manager, the flawless artist, the ever-cheerful friend. We pour all our energy into maintaining this facade, polishing it for public view, and in doing so, we can begin to feel a deep, draining sense of inauthenticity, a quiet exhaustion from the constant performance. The first step toward self-realization isn't about destroying the mask, but about consciously recognizing that you are the one wearing it. That you are the actor, not merely the role. So I ask you, does your mask feel heavy? Take a moment to truly consider that, because the first time we dare to peek behind it is precisely when we begin the next stage of our descent. It is when we are forced to meet the part of ourselves we've hidden away in the darkness. It's when we meet our shadow. When the persona cracks, when we cease our performance for a moment, we don't find emptiness. Instead, we fall inward, into the parts of ourselves we have disowned, denied, and forgotten. This is the first true descent of our journey. And here, we meet a figure that has been with us all along. Our shadow. The shadow, in Jung's terms, is the personal unconscious. Think of it as a vast, dark bag we carry on our backs, and from a very young age, we have thrown every aspect of ourselves that we deemed unacceptable into it. Unacceptable to our parents, to our society, and eventually, to our own conscious mind. It holds our secret shames, our repressed desires, our envy, our rage, and our immediate instinct is to fear it, to see it as the enemy within. But this is the great misunderstanding of the inner journey. Jung taught that the shadow is not purely negative. It is simply what has been hidden in the dark. Imagine you have a basement you've been too scared to enter. You've thrown all your junk down there for years. There might be some scary things, yes, but down there, mixed in with the junk, might also be forgotten treasures. It could be the raw, fierce assertiveness you were told was impolite, the vulnerable, tender part of you that was once hurt, which you vowed never to show again, or the wild, artistic creativity you were told was a waste of time. Your shadow contains not just your personal darkness, but also your unlived life, your dormant potential. The work of individuation, then, is not to destroy the shadow, but to turn on the light, to walk down into that basement with courage and compassion and see what is actually there. As Jung himself said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The goal is not perfection, it is wholeness, and wholeness must, by definition, include both light and dark. So the question for this stage is not, how do I get rid of my darkness? But, what part of myself have I been afraid to look at? What treasure might be hidden there? Because when we dare to look, we realize that this feared part of ourselves doesn't just hold our weaknesses, it holds the key to our greatest strengths. So we've stood at the entrance of our inner basement. We've acknowledged the existence of the shadow. But what does it actually mean to integrate it? What is this hidden gold we are searching for? It is the transformation of raw, unconscious energy into conscious, usable power. Integration is not about acting out. It doesn't mean that if you find rage in your shadow, you should go around shouting at people. That would be possession by the shadow, not integration of it. Integration is the subtle, alchemical process of bringing a shadow trait into the light of your awareness, owning it, and then choosing how to use its energy wisely. Let's make this practical. Consider the raw energy of anger you were taught to suppress. Left in the shadow, it festers, leading to passive aggression or sudden, uncontrollable outbursts. But when you consciously integrate that anger, its raw heat is refined into the clear, calm power of setting healthy boundaries, of saying no with confidence, of defending your values. It becomes assertiveness. Consider the raw energy of fear. In the shadow, it paralyzes you, becoming anxiety. Integrated, it transforms into prudence, careful planning, the wisdom to look before you leap. Even a trait we judge harshly, like envy, when examined, can reveal what you truly desire, becoming a catalyst for your own ambition. The repressed sadness you carry becomes the wellspring of deep empathy and compassion for others. This is the gold. It's not about adding something new to yourself, but about reclaiming the powerful, vital parts you were forced to leave behind. The process begins with non-judgmental observation, acknowledging the feeling when it arises. Ah, there is envy. Without the next thought being, I am a terrible person. You simply notice. You become curious, and in doing so, you become a more complete, more grounded, and more authentic human being. You are no longer at war with yourself. In the comments below, I'd be curious to hear, is there a shadow trait that, after hearing this, you now see in a different light? Once we begin the courageous work of integrating our personal shadow, our journey takes us deeper still. We move beyond what is merely personal, and we encounter the archetypal forces of the collective unconscious. Here, we meet a figure of immense power and mystery, our inner counterpart. Jung called this figure the soul image. For a man, this is the Anima, the unconscious feminine archetype that lives within his psyche. For a woman, it is the Animus, the unconscious masculine archetype. It's crucial to understand that this is not about social gender roles. It's about fundamental, universal energies that exist in all of us. The Anima often embodies the principles of relatedness, intuition, creativity, and the flowing, receptive nature of life. The Animus often embodies the principles of logic, structure, reason, and assertive, focused action. This soul image is the bridge between our conscious ego and the vast depths of the collective unconscious. It is the voice of our intuition, the source of our creative inspiration. Throughout history, this figure has appeared in myths and stories. For men, the Anima has been the muse that inspires the artist, the ethereal Beatrice who guides Dante through paradise. For women, the Animus has appeared as the mysterious stranger in a dream, the wise spiritual guide, or the heroic figure who embodies her unexpressed potential. To meet and begin integrating this inner figure is to achieve a new level of psychological balance. When a man connects with his anima, he doesn't become less manly. He becomes more whole. He gains access to his own capacity for feeling, for nurturing, for deep, meaningful connection. When a woman integrates her animus, she doesn't lose her femininity. She gains access to her own inner logic, her courage to speak her truth, and her power to build and structure her own life. So, how does this figure appear in your life? In your dreams? In the characters you're drawn to in stories? In the creative projects that call to you? Paying attention is key, because when we are unconscious of this powerful inner figure, we don't experience it as a part of ourselves. Instead, we do something very human and very chaotic. We project it onto the people we meet in the outside world. So what happens when that powerful soul image, the anima or animus, remains unconscious? We don't just miss out on inner creativity. We often unleash chaos into our lives, especially our relationships. This happens through a mechanism Jung called projection. Think of it like this. You have a movie projector in your psyche, and on the film is a perfect luminous image of your inner soul figure. When you meet someone in the real world who has a hook for it, some small quality that matches your inner film, you don't see them. You switch on the projector, and you cast your inner movie onto the blank screen of who they are. You fall in love, but not entirely with them. You fall in love with a disowned part of your own soul that you now see in them. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever wondered why you might fall for the same type of person, even when it ends badly? This is the dance of projection. It begins with a magical, almost divine feeling of connection. They complete me. I feel like I've known them my whole life. This intoxicating feeling is the sign that you have projected your anima or animus. You imbue this ordinary person with all the qualities of your inner ideal, their wisdom, their strength, their boundless creativity. But inevitably, reality trickles in. They reveal themselves to be a normal, flawed human being, and the magic shatters. The disappointment is crushing. We feel betrayed. We think, they changed, or they weren't who I thought they were. But the difficult truth is, we were never seeing them clearly in the first place. This painful cycle, however, is not a cosmic joke. It is a powerful, if clumsy, invitation from the psyche to grow. Each failed projection is an opportunity to withdraw that projected gold and find it within yourself. If you projected a hero who was strong and decisive, the task is to develop your own strength and decisiveness. If you projected a muse who was gentle and creative, the task is to cultivate your own gentleness and creativity. This is the work of moving from unconscious, magical love to real conscious relationship. Does this pattern feel familiar? It's a universal human experience, and acknowledging it is the first step toward breaking the cycle. After we've navigated the masks of the persona, confronted the darkness of the shadow, and begun the inner dance with the anima or animus, what emerges from all this profound work? What is the goal of this entire arduous journey? The goal is the emergence of what Jung called the self, with a capital S. The self is the ultimate archetype of wholeness, the true center of your entire psyche. And it is vital here to distinguish it from the ego. Your ego is the center of your conscious world. It's the I that thinks and acts and makes decisions. But the self is the center of your total being, both conscious and unconscious. If your ego is the earth, the self is the sun that the earth, and all other planets in your inner solar system orbit around. The ego believes it's in charge, but the self is the true organizing principle of your life. Jung saw this archetype symbolized across cultures for millennia in the form of the mandala, a circle with a defined center, representing balance, order, and the union of all opposites, light and dark, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. To find the self is to find your center, to come home to the core of your own being. And what does a life lived from the self feel like? It is not a state of permanent happiness or perfection. Rather, it is a state of profound authenticity, where your outer actions are finally in harmony with your inner values. It is a state of resilience, the ability to hold the tension of life's paradoxes, to be both strong and vulnerable, joyful and sorrowful. It brings a quiet sense of purpose that doesn't scream for external validation, and a deep, compassionate acceptance of who you truly are, shadows and all. This is not about becoming a perfect being, but about becoming a whole one. It is not an endpoint to be reached, but a new way of navigating the world, a new compass to live by. And so, we've walked the path mapped by Jung, from the polished surface of the persona, down into the rich darkness of the shadow. We've encountered the mysterious Anima and Animus, and glimpsed the unifying center that is the self. But it is essential to understand that this is not a linear path with a final graduation day. It is a spiral. We circle back to these same themes throughout our lives. We confront new aspects of our shadow at 40 that were invisible to us at 20. We understand our inner counterpart with a new depth after each significant relationship. This is not a sign of failure. It is the rhythm of a conscious life. Each return to the path is an opportunity to walk it with greater wisdom and greater compassion for yourself. The greatest adventure, as we said in the beginning, is the journey inward. It is not a journey you complete, but one you commit to living. It is the ongoing, courageous act of choosing, again and again, to be who you truly are. It is the work of a lifetime, and there is no more meaningful work to be done. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which stage of this journey resonates most with you right now, at this point in your life? And if you wish to continue these explorations into the depths of the human psyche, please subscribe and join our community of fellow seekers. Thank you for walking this path with me today.